Hello, hello, everyone. This is Lord Captain Commander Dunn, or Lord Commander Dunn, whichever. And I am going to be chatting today with my new friend, relatively new, uh, Noble Commando. I'm very excited to be having him on the show to chat about his book, brainstorm some stuff, and I'm interested to hear some of his ideas. But first things first. I'm going to be here is something of a treat. Yes, I am live now. Also, I'm going to be doing some welcomes. Welcome Blue, welcome Drake the Duelist, Market 3D, lovely to see you as ever. Here is I did something to kind of create something in an opening to the show. It's about a minute and a half. I tried to edit it fairly well. I hope you guys like it. Thank you. I hope that you guys liked it. I kind of did some editing and thought I'd come up with something cool. But anyway, my guest has arrived and I must welcome him in a way that is suitable for his personality. Let's go with that. Welcome to the stream.
Hello,
Amanda.
that was pretty cool. Thank you.
Of course. I thought you might like that.
Yeah. How did you know I liked old 80s action movies?
Lucky guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, those are pretty good.
Yeah, we don't get movies like those anymore. They're
Exactly, like especially when my personal favorite's Die Hard.
and that got pretty badly ruined.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sequels because I didn't really care to watch those. Because after I saw Terminator 3, I learned that maybe don't watch unless it's like a very critically acclaimed sequel like T2, maybe it's a good idea not to watch it. Because then I don't have to see the bad movies.
Well, I haven't seen any of the Die Hard movies, but by all accounts, 2 is fairly good. Three's pretty good. 4's meh. 5 is awful. That's the consent. That seems to be the consensus.
Mm.
So, tell me more about yourself. What you would like to do with your book, and feel free to ask me any questions you want about it, and I'll be able to just have a back and forth about it.
So I don't plan on like writing novels. I guess I don't know. What my goals are more based towards screenplays.
Oh, okay.
See, I guess the thing is that I know that LitDev talks about MovieGate. However, I think a better idea for the name would be ScreenGate. That way it includes both anime and television.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Storycraft is similar across a lot of fields. Maybe not like the technicals, but I'm to hear out your screenplay or whatever, however you want to do it.
Yeah. So let's see. The thing I think you might be able to help me with is like an idea that I've been trying to like build up in my head and try and and I have a general idea of what I want, but like I don't feel like I have enough to like actually write a full like story.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like a lot of my ideas, that they're always incomplete and they always feel like they're missing something.
Okay. What do you could you elaborate on that more so I can kind of get an idea of how to help?
So what I mean is, like, I guess for an example, like, I have ideas on what I want to do, but it feels like, I guess take for example, like a TV show. Like I have an idea for like maybe like general plot points, but it feels like there would be like episodes in between that would be missing. And then like within each of those episodes there are also scenes that are missing because I don't know how to best fill that time, I guess, or trying to figure out, or sort of something like that, where I try to, like, it feels like there are parts that are missing and so it feels incomplete.
Okay. So it's basically like you have a lot of the specific events.
Yeah, and like specifically events and like character ideas and concepts, but like maybe it's the best idea to maybe start with the beginning. The idea that I think the idea I wanted to talk about was what I called the part-time ninja.
Okay.
Which is like basically I take take a lot of concepts from both like Japanese anime and manga and like superhero stories and kind of mix them together to make like a ninja superhero. And a good example of a thing that I think is like missing is that I know I want like, so basically the whole idea for his backstory is that the whole plot, like concept of a part-time ninja is that the reason why he's a part-time ninja is because he has he's a Japanese like salaryman, and he like lives in Tokyo and works this like white collar office job like by day, and by like night he's like a ninja. And part of what I want to be in his backstory is a thing where he essentially, or something goes wrong in his life that like requires him to become a ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically by meeting like this like martial art, like this like wise old sage character, and like but something goes wrong in his life that leads to him meeting this guy who teaches him to be a ninja. And I can't quite figure out something that would be like bad, but like not like permanently hindering him as a character. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like for example, like for Daredevil, it would be losing his eyesight. But for my character, I can't, since he doesn't have powers, he can't like have any like physical injuries that remain permanent.
Okay.
Or anything like that.
Tell me a little bit about this character. Maybe I can give you some suggestions based on what you're already trying to do.
Okay, so basically, this character, I want him like in his office life, he's like kind of boring and nobody really cares about him. But his like ninja persona is like where he like has like this like expresses like this inner masculinity that he like kind of doesn't like, that he has, but he doesn't know how to express that until he becomes like a ninja. And that's kind of like, I kind of got the idea for this character, I think, when listening to Jordan Peterson, or listening to like somebody bash Jordan Peterson, one of those two. But anyway, like I was like, hey, what if there was a character that like kind of like had like what if there was a character who was that like heroic and like masculine, but like can only be that like in certain like parts of his life. So yeah, he's like a super tough like guy when he's like a ninja, but he's like kind of like this boring nobody when he's like just your average Joe, I guess. Which is a part of how he's like able to keep his sacred identity. Nobody knows who he is. Like nobody knows that he's the ninja, because like, no, that's not possible.
Okay. So he's an average Joe. What kind of work does he do, and does he have like a family life?
No, he does not have a family life.
Okay.
in fact, there's like the whole point is that there's like a girl he has a crush on at work, but like he doesn't talk to her, like he can't talk to her much, like at work, but like when he like rescues her, like in stuff like that, and as the ninja, like she is in love with the ninja persona, but not his actual persona, I guess, or not actual persona, but not his white collar persona. And that's the whole point. Like,
okay.
And that gets again, like I have an actual plan for the ending of this, I guess, show, because I like right now I see it as like a little cartoon that I want to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's meant to be kind of more like a lighthearted kids romp rather than a drama. Is that correct?
I guess I'd say yeah. Like maybe it's like no, I wouldn't say it's like for kids. Maybe like teenagers, like kind of like a shonen anime. You know what I mean? Like kind of like Naruto, where there might be some blood and stuff like that. Like, but there's not. It's not gonna be like rated R or something like that. I feel like that's too much for this kind of story.
Okay. I was thinking just like on the usual level of drama, like I guess an example might be like Avatar: The Last Airbender, perhaps.
I guess something like that.
Yeah, where it's like it's not like hard drama, and you're not really going for like very like really mature themes. It's more just like you're going for some stuff relating to kind of something that's a little bit more like family friendly, kind of PG rated, but you're trying
maybe PG, maybe like occasionally PG-13, like when like stuff like gets really serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have another guest coming in to join us. We have a good friend who quite likes dueling, I think.
The long intro actually gave me time to finish getting my water. I saw it playing just as I was running up to my machine.
Nice, I like it. So Mr. Noble Commando is just talking to me about how exactly he wants to kind of write something like, I guess.
Yeah, I was hearing a little bit of it, but I missed like about 30 seconds here and there switching devices. It's kind of like a ninja Clark Kenting situation.
It's like supposed to be like a ninja superhero show. Like where like his superhero abilities are his ninja abilities, and where like the whole point is like what like causes him, like where he becomes a superhero or a ninja superhero is because like it's because he like trains really hard for a long time, which eventually like allows him to become like a ninja. And so he's kind of like has like the abilities of like Batman, but more like in a ninja context.
Mm-hmm. I get a lot of Double Life vibes from that character.
Yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from Spider-Man as well, like where Spider-Man like is in Peter Parker, like kind of like like where he has to do like balance like two lives, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like this character is kind of like the combination of like all my favorite like superhero characters, of where like yeah he has the like dual life of like Peter Parker and Spider-Man, of where he he kind of like fights and has very similar morals to Batman. In fact, that's one of the things is like one of his rivals is kind of like a Punisher knockoff, except he's like a samurai. So yeah.
I've always been intrigued by what would happen if Punisher existed in the Batman universe.
But yeah, like that's true. Like, yeah, anyway, so yeah, we have like my Punisher knockoff, who's like a samurai, is like an ex-JSDF soldier. So that's why he has like access to like machine guns and grenades and has like this high-tech samurai armor. And like that's why I say like occasionally PG-13, because like he like can kill an entire room of bad guys. Whereas like my ninja character is not the kind of guy who is gonna like kill somebody. And in fact, he tries not to kill people.
So is he more like the knockout, incapacitation, Vulcan neck pinch style?
Yeah, sort of. He carries a sword for like self-defense. Which, yeah.
Okay. So you wanted to kind of like, so is he like, what's the age and stuff of this character?
Maybe like mid-20s.
Okay, mid-20s. So he's like, is he still in college, or is he finished his bachelor's and he's trying to make his way in the world?
Yeah, he has like a white-collar office job that's like crappy and that he hates. And again, when he's like his white-collar persona, like again, he's kind of like nobody cares about him because he's kind of boring and uninteresting.
What does he do? Just like office work?
Yeah, he just does like office work, and like because it's like so mundane, he doesn't have much of a personality as a result. So he's kind of like, because he's so worn down by it, like
he synchronizes productivity outputs and generates additional synchronicity.
Exactly. It's just like, and again, this ninja persona is like a way to like get out this inner masculinity, like sort of like that, like he feels like he should be doing, but isn't doing because this is like his mundane office job. But yeah, I wanted to have like my samurai character like as a Punisher knockoff, because I wanted to just like have a character who would like push him morally, and also I kind of wanted it to do based like so a little fun fact about like Japanese history is like if you look, especially if you study I haven't studied it too deep, but like if you like kind of read up a little bit on the Sengoku era, you'll know that a lot of like what happened was like a lot of like samurai would like warlords would stab each other in the back essentially. Whereas like the ninja like mercenaries, who the only reason they were there were they were paid, but they would still kind of be loyal to whoever paid them, like even when they had no reason to. And so one of my ideas is like to take that like little historical fact and kind of like say like, oh, that's like the ninja's code of honor versus like the samurai code of honor. Or like the samurai character, since he's like the Punisher knockoff, is like his version of honor is that I show no mercy to my opponents, and so I always kill my opponents. I'm
also thinking because go ahead.
Yeah, whereas the ninja character, he is like, no, I show my opponents respect, and I always give them another chance. Like, yeah.
Yeah, what I was thinking also is that historically, ninjas were the Japanese ninjas were mostly like farmers and stuff. That's why a lot of their weapons look really weird. It's just like reapplied farming tools. So it's like you get that there as well too, because ninjas farming was like the grunt work of its time. And like
I never actually thought about that. I love that you point that out. That's so cool.
Yeah, like I can't remember the name of the weapon off the top of my head.
Oh, I think
it's like a hooked blade that the ninjas would use that has a chain. Kama?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it the scythe-looking weapon? Because yeah,
it's like the small hand size.
Yeah, that's the Kama.
Yeah, and that was originally like for cutting grain, I believe.
And I believe the kunai was originally like a masonry tool where they would use to like I forget what the Western version of that is, but they would basically. No, it was like it was used like to like smooth out mortar originally.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But
I can't think of the Western name of it, but yeah, like they would use that as like
whatever.
Anyway, yeah, but they would like that the kunai was basically like it was a lot flat. It's like the kunai was like a flat design, so it's not like the point. It's not like the Naruto kunai where you would think of, where it's like this like blade, like it's like a little like pointy like square or knife or whatever.
Yeah. Also, I think the sais were originally for like tilling dirt or something.
That sounds about right. Or I think the sais, like, because the way they're designed is like to block a enemy's weapon.
Yeah, to block the weapon and then snap it in half.
Yeah. But no, I love it that you point out that, like, yeah, because he's like a white collar office worker. Yeah, no, he does like grunt work, and basically he is like the modern day ninja. I love that you point that out. That's so cool. Yeah, and I never thought of it like that. Like.
So, like, what is like the arc that you want your character to go on? Do you want, like, in terms of like, so have you heard of a plot archetype? I don't. So, or at least
I think I know what you're talking about, but I have not heard the term plot archetype.
Kind of an example of a plot archetype is like a heist movie or a heist story is a plot archetype. Like a hero's journey is an example of a structure. Like master and apprentice story is a plot archetype. You got a quest story is an archetype, plot archetype, that sort of thing. Or there's always go for it.
Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily have like. See, I'm glad you brought this up, because I guess that's one of those like missing parts that I told you about. Because I have ideas for conflicts of like who he might come up against, but I don't know, other than maybe like the samurai character, how those conflicts get resolved, or how, in what ways is this character challenged. And I'm trying to figure that out, kind of.
Okay. So, tell me the conflict. So like overall, like what would you say is like the overall conflict, and how would you say you would kind of like to solve it?
So I guess the first, like the main conflict is my ninja character fighting the Yakuza. Okay. And one of the things is that the Yakuza is working with like the company that he works for, and one of the things he's trying to do is find out who that is. And so not only does he like do like fighting stuff, but he also does like sneaking stuff. Like, so he like sneaks around, tries to gather information, and like that's one of the ideas for like the plot. And like I had a few ideas for like supervillain. Like I'm trying to come up with like ideas for like villains that are kind of like based on either like Japanese mythology or just like Japanese like culture in general. Because I do want this to like kind of show my love and interest in Japanese culture, and to not just be, a superhero story with a ninja aesthetic. Like, you know what I mean?
So it's like you don't want a like a coat of paint.
Yeah, I want it to feel.
Okay.
Like I want it to feel a little bit like it's like, I guess like
authentic.
Yeah, I want it to feel. Yeah, I want it to feel authentic. Is the thing.
Okay. So.
So like your main hero be like a Tokugawa type, a patient. He'll bide his time, and then he'll win in the end.
Yeah, in fact, it's funny because I was thinking on one of the names what the giving him was Takeo Tokugawa. because I wanted to do like the golden age where they have like the first and last initial. And like one of the names I thought of was Tokugawa.
Yeah, so, there's like an expression in the Sengoku Jidai. The bird doesn't sing. What do? Oda Nobunaga says, kill it. Toyotomi Hideyoshi says, bribe it. Tokugawa Ieyasu says, wait.
Yeah. In fact, mention that actually does sound like a good arc. Because maybe he's like super like tough and good at fighting, but maybe the thing he's like learning is patience. And so from the beginning to the end, he becomes more patient and becomes more able to like control his own impulses and like time things out well.
Mm-hmm. Versus your villain, who sounds more like a Nobunaga brutal type.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and the conflict is are you going to use kind of the conflict of like the kind of usual conflict of like what is it, like a ninja versus shogun type conflict?
So so the thing is like the supervillains like that are working for the Yakuza, like I'm still kind of trying to come up with ideas for them.
Mm-hmm.
So like the samurai character, like I said, he's like the Punisher, he's not like working for the Yakuza. He's also fighting the Yakuza, but again, he's more violent and brutal about it. And like he kills a bunch of people using like a bunch like assortment of weapons, like of modern military guns, like an assault rifle and grenades and like explosives and stuff like that. So he's like the kind of guy who's just like gunning them down. Mm-hmm. Again, because he's like more of like he like cares less about like this like fancy. Oh, I'm like this like high like class. Like he prides himself on efficiency, I guess. So yeah, he like has a bunch of machine guns and like grenades like of modern warfare again because he was an ex-JSDF soldier. Mm-hmm. Who went rogue for some reason and decided to become the Punisher, samurai Punisher, essentially.
So can I make the assumption that this is kind of a more grounded world, kind of akin to the Nolan Batman movies?
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's like originally I intended to have like some supernatural elements, but I decided it's better just to have it like be more realistic and set it in like a modern day Japan.
Okay. So it's kind of okay. So it's kind of like a heightened reality. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. So a lot of the things that you seem to be talking about are a lot of. It seems as though like this character, is he going to have to live a double life, or is he, okay?
I think that's like kind of one of the things is like, yeah, he had like, and what in his white collar like life persona, like, yeah, once again, like he's kind of boring. Nobody really like knows anything about him, but again, he's more expressive as the actual personality as a ninja.
Okay. I was thinking kind of like a Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange in a way, where Doctor Strange kind of doesn't really have a secret identity. He just kind of is the Sorcerer Supreme and doesn't really have a dual identity. Versus
he's more like Spider-Man. In fact, I think I said earlier in the stream that the whole idea, like one of the ideas of his character was based on Spider-Man.
So what exactly, like, let me think. what would you say is the main major personality elements of your character that that will kind of make that are going to be driving the plot, really?
Let's see. Oh, they're driving the plot. I don't know. I've been trying to think of personality.
So you're saying that his personality comes out as a ninja?
Yeah, like where he's like, I guess more like.
It seems as though to me,
like, I don't know. I'm trying to I guess we're whereas.
I think it would be more like, since with a ninja you don't really have a personality. You're
maybe
you're kind of just a silent assassin trying to kill somebody usually, or just. I think that maybe it's something you could kind of contrast that he's kind of goofy in real life and he doesn't want to be. And then he is able to.
Maybe he can be more like kind of Batman.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because he has he's tough because Batman has personality.
Yeah, he does.
And yeah.
So, and usually, like with a ninja, you would at least have them try to have something that would allow them to blend in at least initially and allow them to get close to their targets. Akos Kovac actually had a very good point.
Oh, for the samurai?
Yeah.
Toxics. Let's see.
Is Kovacs talking about the samurai or the ninja? Because the samurai could, because like I was saying with the ninja, while they were peasants, the samurai were actually extremely wealthy and owned most of their own stuff. It was also really expensive, so if the samurai
is more of a head-on warrior, and I pictured him having either a belt-fed machine gun or an assault rifle with an underbarrel grenade launcher, where he's shooting up a bunch of bad guys, kind of in this run and gun kind of mentality.
Yeah, it's like samurais have this impression where they're kind of classy compared to things like barbarians and Vikings, but they're pretty brutal by the standards of their country.
He prides himself on his killing efficiency, which is shown in his marksmanship with a machine gun or something like that. Or an assault rifle, maybe an assault rifle, because then he can switch to semi-automatic when he's shooting specific targets, and then switch to full auto when he's gunning down a room of bad guys.
Okay.
But yeah, again, he's also really brutal.
Actually, technically speaking, it's faster to go semi-auto and just pick your targets, knock one out, than to just spray. Spraying is incredibly inefficient.
It's also spraying makes it so that you run out of bullets faster, and the other guy might get behind a structure.
All right, because again, one of the ideas I was thinking is have a belt-fed machine gun as his primary weapon. But yes, if he has an assault rifle, then he's gonna have a semi-automatic assault rifle. It's funny. Somebody mentioned that he would have the M16. I was thinking on having the M16, but specifically the one with the M203 grenade launcher and the one with the custom kind of the M16 barrel when you put the grenade launcher in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yeah, the noob tube.
Yeah, where it would have the kind of more more like box-like design rather than like the like round like handguard from like the like M16A4. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I believe I do.
Yeah, like the one from Vietnam, basically. That like grenade launcher version.
So, in terms of like, so you have this main character. He's a kind of a white collar office guy, and he starts leading this double life as a ninja. And he goes up against this Punisher type, who is samurai type, who is working with the Yakuza.
No, he's working against them because they're both trying. So the whole point is that they're both trying to stop the Yakuza, but they get into a conflict because they don't like each other's methods.
So Daredevil and Punisher essentially. Okay.
Yeah, they don't like each other's methods, so they get into a conflict.
So it's like he doesn't like the fact that the ninja doesn't go far enough.
And the ninja doesn't like it that he's like too like inhumane and like just like killing everybody.
Way too much civilian damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just like way too much damage in general, like because. Yeah.
So, in terms of like a plot structure, it seems like we're going with the establishment of the kind of the main guy, how he lives and how he works. Maybe put in like a teeny weeny prologue, maybe like maybe like a page and a half, where you kind of establish, no, this world has ninjas in it. This is kind of a place where like the kind of like, almost like how Lord of the Rings does its prologue, or the Matrix introduces kind of its premise before you meet Neo, and then you go in to meet Neo. You establish Neo, or your character. You have his uncomfortable life, and then some kind of inciting incident happens where, like you said, something bad happens to his character, to him.
I want it to be like a result of him being selfless. So where like maybe like this like, because one of the other characters I had in mind was like this like sensei, like mentor kind of character, and maybe he's like, I like you because you seem like a good guy. You seem like the kind of guy who could be like a ninja warrior. And yeah, so it's like something bad happens, and partly in due to him like being selfless, and I'm trying to figure out like what like.
And we aren't in like anything like super high tech. This is relatively low.
This is modern day Japan, essentially.
Okay. Modern day Japan. Okay. So I guess we could go with like a Karate Kid type thing where he just gets beaten up by a bunch of kids after standing up for something.
Yeah, I was thinking on something like that.
Okay. Then this guy, I finds him. Oh, that's interesting.
The How to Type 89. Yeah, that would work. I was also thinking on giving him like the Mediba PM9 submachine gun where he would dual wield them. But I think that would fall too much into the spray and pray, whereas like he's more of a precision marksman with like a rifle. So yeah, the Type 89 might be a better choice of rifle. I was picking the M16 A1 with like the M203 because I wanted it to be like a kind of old-fashioned rifle, because Japan has really strict gun laws. So like he's not able to get like a brand new like a Scar H or something like that. But he has like this old M16 that might be like from the Cold War or something.
I figure you just like yank weapons from the Yakuza. Like the Yakuza had a lot of old World War II style weapons and still use them today, roughly, if I remember correctly.
I was thinking so the Yakuza in this show would be like using like Uzis and some machine gun type weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the Yakuza did have like the Uzi, but like that but yeah, I know. I definitely wanted them to like be like spraying, praying, like firing, kind of like either that or they like. So yeah, there's two kinds of Yakuza like fighters in I guess these stories. Like there's one, the Yakuza machine gunner, which has like an Uzi like submachine gun, and then there's like the Yakuza swordsman, like who like this is the melee fighter, I guess.
Like the crazy martial artist.
Yeah, like basically, like there's two types of enemies. Like there's either like the guys with guns or the guys with swords. So, or maybe like they might carry both a gun and a sword. Like, yeah, or the guys with swords also carry like a pistol of some kind. So they have both a ranged weapon and a melee weapon. But yeah, I wanted it like to have like these more like melee fights, not just like, oh, my ninja character is blocking bullets with a sword, like not all the time, because that's a little bit ridiculous. And maybe he can only do it like maybe that's a skill he has to learn.
Well, you could always just kind of use a variant of dragon skin armor, like I mean, like that specific. I think it's like some. It was something that the military developed. I believe it was on like future weapons. I believed where they put a guy on top of a grenade, and like the shock impact of the grenade would have killed the person, but it didn't. None of the shrapnel entered through the vest.
Mm. So that's one thing is that I don't think ninjas would wear armor.
Well, not even like armor. It's like it's a bulletproof vest. It was just something. It was just Kevlar. It's a improved version of Kevlar, I believe.
That seems like okay. That actually gives me an idea. Like I said, like my samurai character would have like a high-tech armor. I was thinking maybe his samurai armor, like it looks like samurai armor, but it's like actually like this like Kevlar, like military drab looking armor, and he has like the steel helmet still though. Or like he has like a Kevlar samurai helmet, like Kevlar, like it's like it looks like a samurai style armor, but it's all like Kevlar and like modern materials as opposed to like
old-timey steel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That actually would be pretty cool.
Well, if he's fighting at night, you can always just wear really dark clothes and then just count on the poor accuracy of the Yakuza.
So it's more the ninja's fighting style. It's wear like a dark ninja suit.
Were we talking about the ninja or the samurai?
Samurai wears the Kevlar armor. Ninja wears...
the samurai wears the armor and...
Yeah.
Cloth. So what exactly like is the what like so other than so what's like gonna get us personally invested in this conflict between this kid and the Yakuza, and how is he going to like get involved in it and get invested?
Like I said, one of the people working at his company is working for the Yakuza.
Okay.
So basically, he might like find out about this, and because in this story, like the Yakuza are like kind of like, because I think right now, like the Yakuza aren't as powerful as they were like maybe in the 1980s, but in the story, like they're kind of like spiking in activity and they're trying to make a comeback. And so yeah, they start working with this company. He's like, if I don't figure out who like is in the, like who in this company is working with the Yakuza, then like the police might show up and like shut down the company, and I might lose my job. And like not only that, but like not maybe not like in that like no, I don't like that. That's too selfish.
So, in terms of how does this guy like what is keeping what's this character's dog in the fight, so to speak? Like what's his motivation personally not to just kind of keep his head down? Head down and let other people like try and pass the job off to other more competent people. What's his personal stake in things?
I guess one reason is the other people who are doing this job aren't doing it in the right way. For example, the samurai. Because he's like murdering a bunch of people, and he's like, no.
So is he capable already in some form of combat, or does he learn throughout the course of the story?
I was thinking in the beginning would be like partly like how he like learns how to be like how to fight, because one of the things is like part of like his origin story is him being trained by a mentor.
Okay. So how long exactly is kind of, do you have a time skip in between the initial finding of it and the time where the story like starts picking up?
I was thinking on doing like a montage scene for him training, so you see that he does do it, but it's not doesn't take up too much time in the story to keep things like, you know what I mean?
It is a time skip in many respects.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is more intended to be a cartoon series rather than like a book. So I think a novel, like a time skip, would be better. But I think for like a screen, like a cartoon montage would be better.
Well, like you have the like you still kind of can have like a montage in a book form, or a time skip in a novel form or in a TV format. And I think a montage. And then, do you want him to be kind of experienced, at least like kind of be doing this for a while?
Yeah, I want him to at least be like capable like of easily like fighting off like henchmen and like other grunts. But whenever he encounters like an experienced like fighter, it's difficult for him because I don't want everything to be too easy. Because I want like there to be some challenge and some like difficulty in this task.
Okay.
I'm thinking like the Yakuza are basically kind of mooks. What makes them difficult to defeat is their organizational structure, whereas the guy who's actually the fighter who challenges him would be the samurai. So, do you imagine this is the ninja type character did a lot of like kendo and like archery and stuff like that as hobbies when he was younger? Like apparently that's fairly common.
I definitely could see him doing like kendo, maybe not archery because I don't see him using a bow and arrow. Like the weapons he uses are like a bow or a sword and like shurikens. And those are the weapons I was thinking he would use, and maybe like a grappling hook of some kind. But kunais were not used as grappling hooks, so it would not be a kunai. I think that's a misconception that people have, because maybe I think Naruto or some Japanese media implied that kunais were used as like grappling hooks when that's not necessarily true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kunai with Chain from Yu-Gi-Oh! Also another culprit.
Yeah. So like, how long is he like in training verse? And is this like one of many missions? Is this his first mission as soon as he gets out of training? How does it work?
Let's see. Maybe training. I'd have to look up exactly how long, but maybe enough training to get like maybe a black belt in karate or something.
Okay. So probably like so it's basically a what is it?
Maybe like a year or two.
Okay, so this is definitely like his first mission.
Yeah.
And so you don't necessarily have to do this, but I'm curious, is there a refusal of the call, or is he kind of just gung-ho about it?
I mean, it would actually, so again, I'm so glad you asked me about this, because this is one of those things that was missing, more so because I didn't think of it, more rather than normally the problem was I can't think of something good to put here. So this is something I didn't think of. Like I can see that maybe he what am I trying to say? Like, yeah, no, maybe he does like think like, oh no, I have like work to do, you know, I'm like really, I have a super busy schedule, but like he's like, eventually he does come around and say, no, this is important. Like, yeah.
Okay. So you have. So is he competent enough with it, or is he, like, is he able to, like, I guess, like, what's his impetus into doing this, as opposed to kind of saying, no, like, let somebody more confident take over? I guess that seems to be, like, something that might help us to kind of understand, might help the audience to understand why he's doing this, rather than kind of saying, no, let somebody else deal with this. I'm just a guy and I don't want to die, or something like that.
I don't know, maybe because I had an idea. Like, say I said, in most of his like actual personality came out like being a ninja. One of the things I guess I thought of but didn't really, I guess,
articulate.
Yeah, in my head, like I didn't really articulate, but I did kind of, I guess, assume, or just like kind of like, is that so he has like some kind of hero complex.
Okay.
Where he wants to be like the action heroes on TV, essentially. Because again, it's all about like expressing like this inner masculinity that he like kind of leaves like dormant at his job. So because of like that this being this hero and expressing that, like, well, he believes like this is my real, like this is like who I like should, like this is who I should be, should strive to be. Like I don't really like, I don't want to really want to be like an office drone. I want to be a hero who saves people and protects people.
So what are some things like in, so besides like his job, what are some things in like his backstory and such that kind of motivates him to want to be a hero, and kind of what's his personality like, other than like the hero complex? Like give us some of those juicy details.
Okay, so I had it like, I was thinking he would be like super serious, like, and he's like a ninja, but like he does it in like a kind of like comedic way. Like I guess like he's kind of like over the top serious.
Comedic, would he like come up behind a Yakuza and just wedgie the crap out of them? Or
no, not like that. But like, I mean, like, I guess a good example is like another character, another, I guess, not necessarily rival, but not necessarily an ally either, was, I guess, a Catwoman knockoff who serves to be like this more like temptation, but he like completely ignores her and like, nah, like her attempts to like seduce him. And he's like, "Yep, yeah, okay, let's continue to focus." And she's like, like kind of like you know, like that makes the like anime girl noise that like where she's like, "What the crap? Like you're supposed to be paying attention to like I'm," you know what I mean? Like she's like upset that he's not falling for her.
So what if the Catwoman type is the Hideyoshi type?
Hmm?
What if the Catwoman type character is the Hideyoshi archetype?
Hmm.
So it's, I guess it's.
What would that be again?
Nobunaga was the kill it. Hideyoshi was the bribe it. Tokugawa Ieyasu was the wait.
Yeah, I actually like that, where she's like trying to like, yeah. I'm still not sure what like kind of like fighting style or action like or Japanese like combat like archetype to base her off of. Like she's like, because I already have a ninja, I already have a samurai.
Archer?
Like, I guess that could work. Yeah, no, I do like her being like this kind of like negotiator of like trying to like
a dark Leia.
Yeah, like somebody like like some.
She's an ass. She's like a spy, like a spy geisha type, maybe.
Yeah,
that's, you know Ada Wong from Resident Evil. Ada Wong from Resident Evil.
I have not played the Resident Evil games, unfortunately. Well, I played a little bit of 4.
Yeah, Ada Wong was the lady in the red dress in 4.
Okay, so I said I played a little bit. Like I played like the first mission.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a Black Cat and Mary Jane situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he does have like the love interest at work who doesn't really care for him as this like normal, like uninteresting self, but like is like super in love with like this ninja character. Or love and hit with him as a ninja because he is like this like tough, like serious guy who like really takes everything seriously and cares a lot for what he does. I guess like I guess like he's both serious and passionate for what he does, and being a ninja. Where I guess where he's in his normal white collar self, he's just like, I don't care or whatever, like kind of silly and aloof. Like
he uses humor as a coping mechanism.
Yeah,
work because he feels like it's meaningless.
Yeah. Or he's like kind of like the sarcastic like asshole, like yeah, whatever, okay, like yeah, like just like another day at the off, like yeah, he's kind of silly and like trying to break up the monotony of being at work and like this mundane job.
So Dr. Crow actually had a couple of suggestions. Maybe she's a monk from across the sea, or maybe an American spy archetype. Those are 2 suggestions that he came up with.
You know, it's funny because I was thinking on like making like one, because I did like think of like, American spy or like. So I like the idea of like her being like a monk from across the sea because like she could be like this Chinese like, but I do kind of want it to be like Japanese culture and like I know that there's like some like I think it was like the kitsune or like there was like a fox girl from like Japanese mythology that was kind of like a seductress, but I think that's what it was. I'm not super.
Yeah, you're working.
Like I know like a little bit about Japanese mythology, but not enough to like let's say I'm like an expert or like to say like
correct. Kitsune is correct.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I thought like originally like she was like Catwoman, so yeah, I was thinking like that would be kind of like based on her like would wear like a costume that kind of looked like a little fox or something like that,
or like Black Cat.
Yeah, something like that, basically.
They're very much the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah, except Black Cat had literal superpowers.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah.
So it seems like you have like a lot of elements here.
Yeah. And again, I guess I have a lot of like concepts, but yeah, it seems that I don't know how to put them together.
Okay. So I guess like if I can summarize what I understand, basically, guy, white collar job, does something maybe like the Yakuza, like some really low level Yakuza thugs are trying to extort guy. He fights them, maybe fails at fighting them, and they get their thing anyway until the sensei type comes in, beats him up, and he helps the kid, takes the thing back, helps the guy, gives it back to the store owner or whatever, helps the guy to take it back to his thing, and he says, "Hey, I can teach you how to. You seem like you have the right temperament for this." Trains him for a little bit, and then he goes on like a mission. He meets adversaries and allies like this Kitsune type.
Yeah.
And the samurai type. Maybe something goes wrong and he runs into the samurai while the samurai's in the middle of something bad, and they start that personal rivalry. And then like after that, you kind of go through like conflict with both him and the Yakuza. Maybe the samurai kind of messes up some things where he's going after the Yakuza, and then something personal happens that he says, okay, this is an opportunity to take down the Yakuza, or at least like a big chunk of them. And he goes in with the samurai and the Kitsune as like his backup team. They go in, get whatever dirt or fight they need with the Yakuza, and then take some of them down.
Yeah.
Is that like the structure that you're kind of thinking about going?
Yeah, basically that. It's funny that you like, because I did intend these like two characters to eventually become like his like they didn't start off necessarily as allies, but because they all have like the same like goal, that they would end up working together.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of like it's like a kind of a common trope in shonen anime, where like where your previous enemies kind of become your friends. And I wanted to kind of pay homage to that with these two characters, that they would become like his two like allies, which I guess does like because from what I remember from Japanese history, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to be wrong, is that Oda Nobunaga was or I guess the Oda clan and what would later become the Tokugawa clan were rival clans, but like due to like some circumstances, like they eventually became eventually became allies. And not only that, but like they trusted, like they're like the fact that they trusted each other so much, whereas like most samurai like clans were expecting to be stabbed in the back by the other. Like that's how they were able to reunify Japan, from what I remember.
Okay.
As far as I know.
It fits in both ways, I guess. It fits like as both like an homage to Japanese history and as an homage to anime and manga.
So the ninja and the samurai come to an understanding by the end?
Eventually, yeah. Like.
Okay. So, what would you say? in terms of structure, what's like, I guess like using the hero's journey as like a structure that most people are relatively familiar with. What do you think might be like the beats of that you might use? And you can switch things up, omit sections, however you want to do it. But it kind of helps to have like some kind of structure terms of that.
Let me pull up the diagram for the hero's journey so that I
can do that. I can do that and just pull it up on screen.
Oh, thank you. That would help a lot, because I don't want to be missing parts or mixing things up.
Yeah, let me pull it up, and it'll also be helpful for the audience, I think.
Oh, that too.
So let me see. Come on, baby. Open images, new tab. So, like, I guess we already have his uncomfortable home, I guess. We have, in terms of, or at least like the ordinary world. Let me see.
Yeah. He lives, he has the white collar office job.
Yeah. Let me see. Should have it pulled up in a minute. Some of these things are really annoying. Okay. Let's see. So let me see. Hopefully it'll work. I think it's supposed to be. Okay, I have something. Let me see. Alright, let's pull this thing up. So this is kind of, I guess, the let's see. So we kind of have this. Let me see. Zoom out a little bit. So can everybody see it okay?
Well, it's a little hard to read for me, but other than that, okay. It's a little better.
Let me expand and zoom in a little bit. There we go. Does that work better? Oh, that's still blurry. Crap. Let me zoom in on each individual point. Maybe that'll be better. So, is that doing better?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked for me.
Alrighty, let me see. So initially we got like so it seems as though we've got the call to adventure and the ordinary world.
Mm-hmm.
So bargain without knowing a refusal of the call. Usually that's you get it, you throw yourself into something unwittingly, and then you get punished for your ignorance. And refusal of the call is usually something like Star Wars, where Luke kind of runs away from his responsibility initially.
Or like when Uncle Ben is shot by the thug who Peter Parker could have stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he made that deal ill with fate, where he said, "No, I'm going to be kind of elfish," and then he pays for it.
Yeah, and then that spawned the greatest line of all time: "With great power comes great responsibility."
Mm-hmm. And then after that, you have meeting the mentor. So meeting the mentor, you already have that, and then some kind of aid that's out of the ordinary, I guess. I guess the use of it, I guess, like meeting the white spirit, like meeting something that is good and pure, I guess, that is like kind of a reconciliation. Yeah. It's usually like meeting something that is pure, I guess. I haven't heard like the meaning the white spirit. I need to retake a look at, but I guess like some kind of help that allows you to get through something.
So I guess that would be like the training.
Yeah.
Montage.
And then you have the road of trials and tests. Like Whale's Belly is usually like a dark point in the first act, and enemies, allies, and obstacles kind of come before the belly of the whale, where kind of you have that spiritual like moment where you go into like the darkest depths, either psychologically or physically, and then you come back out. An example of the whale's belly in comics might be when Batman broke Batman's broke Batman's back. That's an example of that. So in terms of fleshing this out, what would you say is the like the we have enemies like in terms of the samurai type and the
Yakuza, who are also fighting each other, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of, and then we have the ally initially, who's kind of a trickster character as well.
Yeah.
And then so what's like his low point or early low point, and what are his obstacles, I guess?
Early low point. So yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like, because I know like I want to have like villains for the Yakuza, not just like have like the Yakuza just be a bunch of like faceless bad guys that sometimes like some of their like high like elite fighters are like these like super villain-esque characters. You know what I mean?
You want to have an element of what is it? Like I guess like bosses within it.
Yeah, for example, like one of the characters would be like whose persona would be like an Oni. It would be like this kind of like sumo wrestler archetype, which is like the complete opposite of like a fast and nimble ninja. So yeah, like the sumo's like fighting style is all about pinning them down and like which like will like cause like this like ninja to like character to like use his like abilities to like his full advantage, and that would be like a true like test of his like strength. And I guess maybe a good example would be hit like of like a first initial low point would be him losing to this guy.
Okay.
Like, because he's like maybe he spent like a year in training, but he's still he's still not, I guess, not like perfectly proficient. So yeah, of course, like he loses to this boss character, like yeah, because he's like a video game boss essentially, I guess. Yeah, he loses to him.
So, do you want to show kind of like his transitional period from like his training as in a transitional period, and then like his first threat, like he kind of first like just doesn't know whether or not he's going to get through this training because he doesn't know if he's physically up to it.
Yeah, I was thinking, actually that could be something I could focus on because I said like maybe it would take place over the course of a year. One, so I can have like him kind of like start off kind of like scrawny looking, but then like get super like buff like by the end of his like ninja training.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe I guess there is a part where he's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
Mm-hmm. So
and maybe that's another thing. Maybe because we mentioned patience earlier, that maybe he like his mentor is like, well, you should have patience, like, because he's like that's one of the things that he has to learn is patience. So if he sticks with it, then eventually he gets through training. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Because of his like patience and endurance, because he exercised this like skill that he needs to learn in order to become a ninja. Because it was one of the things I like about like martial arts movies is that they try to teach you like a skill, but they're also like trying to teach you like a life lesson at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, can't think of a good example.
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, I guess. Like, yeah, like that. Like, yeah.
Okay. So, and kind of with that, like the first threshold could be like his kind of final test as a ninja to kind of get through this point.
Yeah.
And kind of just prove to himself that he's ready in some ways.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of like, and you can kind of like admit, like I haven't really read the hero's journey in its entirety. I need to. I've mostly just listened to people discuss it because it's very, from what I understand, it's very dry, and there's a lot of elements in there that they kind of leave out.
Oh, but I from what I kind of like use that, like use what people discuss in videos. Also, what I learned in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like since a couple of these points I'm not really familiar with, but I can kind of extrapolate what they are. I know, like, meaning the shadow self is basically something about the character that they don't really like, but they fight it, and therefore they make it stronger. Kind of the way to defeat the shadow self is to what is it? Kind of integrate the shadow self into you in order to make it so that you can move forward and kind of accepting who you are, I guess.
Mm.
Then we have kind of the wild bride and bridegroom. I guess that would be kind of something, a temptation of some sort early on, and meaning the goddess or god, some kind of extremely powerful figure that where it's usually some kind of resting time after like a temptation or a hard thing. So I guess like in this case, the samurai could be a wild could be an example of that, where you have this person who's really wild, and eventually the two of them need to come together in a way.
Yeah, we're like, and like where he is like super efficient at like his thing. In fact, one of the things is like I was thinking on having the way they resolve their rivalry would be like through a confrontation. Because one of the things that like my samurai character takes pride in is that his sword is made like a traditional katana. But the thing is though, like a traditional katana actually sucks. It's like because like they couldn't get the steel to be hot enough, so they had to like that's why they had to do like the folding method, because they couldn't get the steel hot enough. So this ninja character knows like, oh, he's bragging about like this katana that's like not actually all that good. So if I challenge him to a sword duel, then I can take advantage of his crappy sword and like basically defeat him by disarming him rather than having to kill him, which is what he probably wants me to do. Because like it's all like about honor. You don't let your opponent live because like that's showing weakness according to the samurai.
Okay. There are a couple of things that we could. You don't necessarily have to use all of these, but it works as kind of like understanding the structure, since it doesn't seem like there's like a meeting with the goddess or god in terms of like something, a very, very powerful man or woman that gives them advice or something. An example of meeting the goddess in something relatively mainstream is Lord of the Rings, where Frodo meets Galadriel. She's an example of a goddess / god type.
I was thinking of like Yoda from Empire Strikes Back.
That also works too. The atonement with the father and mother, it doesn't seem like this is kind of that kind of story, so we could kind of leave that out. Finding love in the underworld seems like it's like he kind of maybe the like he's at a low point or something, and so do you want him to go with the girl he has a crush on in the office, or go with the kitsune type?
I was thinking like office girl.
Okay.
Where I guess in the end, when he like is able to like when I guess his ninja persona, like when they defeat the Yakuza and like his like ninja persona is no longer needed, and he can kind of like I guess kind of like combine his two like halves into one, to where he's being like his full self.
Is the office girl secretly the kitsune?
No.
Okay.
The whole point is though, like, is like I guess the kitsune like represents like a deviant behavior of like, oh, sleep for a night and then forget we ever met or something like whereas like the office girl is more of like the purity,
monogamy and stuff.
Yeah, like it's like more of like a wholesome relationship, whereas like kitsune is like, yeah, I don't do like like that kind of.
I don't do one night stands.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's more of like more of like okay, we hooked up, had fun last night. Yeah, goodbye now. Like that's kind of what she's like. So.
I'd like to kind of cut things off at the 2-hour mark, just so we can kind of keep things digestible. So
okay.
So what are some like things from this that you kind of see like utilizing within it? I guess like in terms of just a structure. And how are you gonna apply, mix and match, and kind of use some of these ideas together?
Let's see. see. Like, what do you mean? Sorry.
Well, like, just like, do you see like using some of these elements? Let me go up to the kind of the first one, I guess.
Yeah, like that's the one I kind of.
Yeah.
No.
The one below is kind of the more like in-depth thing, but this is kind of just an example of a much simpler one. Is that the kind of well? It depends. Like, is that the kind of structure you want to use?
Yeah, I think the more simple structure is, I think, more so what I'm going for.
And so you're kind of going to be. So are you? So another example of like structures are like an Odyssey type structure where it's a series of events that are kind of not interconnected. There's also like the 3-act and 5-act structures that you can use in terms of formatting your story.
I definitely see this being more of like an Odyssey, but with like a background overarching narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it can be consumed in an episodic format, like it kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it's mostly episodic, but like in the grand scheme, like they are working towards a goal in the end.
Okay.
It's like a semi-serial.
Yeah.
So you kind of have each individual episode be its own self-contained thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And each one has like its own individual obstacles and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe like episode 1 is where he get like confronts like these bad guys or like these like shoplifters and gets the crap beat out of him. Episode 2, and then at the end of episode 1, he meets this mentor, and then episode 2 is offered to train, and initially refuses, but realizes that like, hey, this is what I really always wanted. So then accepts, and then maybe episode 3 would be where he starts training, doubts himself, and through like kind of a montage, eventually comes out on top.
Okay.
And then.
And this is just normal, everyday. Maybe it's like heightened reality, kind of like the Nolan Batman movies.
Yeah.
If you wanted to use like kind of at least like some measure of like protection, you could always use that particular armor as like a model.
Since you can use what?
The League of Shadows armor as like a model.
Okay, I can look that up.
Allow me to. I can check it up real quick. Or it's like very lightweight, but it's like
I was thinking like I don't know. I wasn't thinking you would wear armor. I was thinking you wore like dress, like you more like wear like the traditional like I don't know what it's called, but like I guess like a gi.
Well, the thing with a gi is that you have to worry, like especially if like he's going up against people with bullets, and you're gonna at least like have some kind of like maybe not like high tech armor or even like high quality armor, but they're going to need some kind of protection if he's going to be doing things.
Okay, I guess maybe he does like wear like the armor and like you can't see like the gi underneath though. Maybe still.
Maybe he just like has like a thin like Kevlar armor underneath.
Yeah, and then like I was definitely like because one of the things I wanted him like to have like a sleeveless like shirt, like, and then have like some kind of like armband, like, and then maybe that's like kind of like armor plated, as well as maybe like having some kind of like shoulder pad or something.
Yeah, since even these days, something like a fencing coat,
yeah,
and is made from like the same material as bullet, because otherwise the fencers will probably get killed.
I've actually done fencing, so yeah, I can say that like yeah, it is possible that like yeah, no, they do tell you to like treat this as if it were a lethal weapon.
Mm-hmm. Which it kind of is, because it's a piece of metal. It's not sharp, but it can still hurt.
Yeah, I think especially like if you get hit in the eye with it, like,
or if it breaks.
Oh yeah, especially if it breaks.
Like I got hit in the hand with my bare hand with the sword, and I couldn't move my hand properly for a day or two.
Ouch. The funny story is when I used to take fencing, I told my teacher, my fingers hurt. And he's like, good, that means you're doing it right. Because you manipulate the sword using your fingers, not your wrist. And so like I think he said a lot of his like older students would like for his like I guess like more adult classes would use their wrist and said, my wrist hurts. And as whereas yeah, you manipulate the sword using your fingers.
Mm-hmm. So are there so I guess like in terms of like his equipment, he's going to be using like kind of cheaper weaponry that's not like as high end as the Yakuza armor or even like the samurai guy.
Yeah, because I was thinking like the Yakuza, like, because the Yakuza are very formal, that they'd be wearing like a lot like a suit and tie,
and they're well funded.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be using like cheap weaponry. I think he would like. Are you thinking like he would use a gun that has a silencer, or he would just?
No, he doesn't use guns. He doesn't like do lethal takedowns like that. Like.
Okay. Okay, like, so. Okay, I can see that. That makes sense. So he's kind of and it's kind of a Spider-Man versus Spider-Man, along with like Catwoman and the Punisher / Batman. In terms of, it seems like this samurai type is probably like a rich guy, maybe like that's like.
Like I think I said he was like an ex-JSDF.
Oh, okay.
So he's more like the Winter Soldier or like the Captain America, where he like, and he has like all these military equipment because he used to be in the military.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like, yeah, and he has like military grade weapons and gear. Okay. So which is why he has like a grenade launcher, and like he has like a bunch of frag grenades and smoke grenades. And
do you know who the character Nuke is?
Nuke. From what?
Marvel Comics.
I don't believe I do.
I think I do. He has he takes pills to give him superpowers, correct?
Yeah. He's like this ultra jingoistic kind of evil Captain America type. And he takes the pills for different colored pills, gives him various superpowers. There's red, white, and blue naturally. And he's very much about lots and lots and lots of damage and getting his target somewhere in there. Because when you say a Punisher type character, I think a character with a very strong code. So it's not so much about the damage as the reason for the damage.
No, he does have a code of honor. It's just different from the ninjas, where his code of honor is no survivors. Kind of like, yeah, no, showing like letting my enemy to survive is showing weakness, where I show strength through no survivors and by killing every motherfucker in the room, essentially. But yeah, no, he doesn't target civilians. He doesn't do like collateral damage.
Okay.
He's just about like killing all the bad guys and making sure none of them live. Whereas like the ninja is like the opposite. Kill as few people as possible. Like kill only when you have to.
So it's kind of a like he's very much utilitarian. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it fair to assume like his thing is kind of ends justify the means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I did want the ninja and the samurais, like mostly their conflict is a conflict of ideals.
Okay.
Because yeah, like their methods are like completely different, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I do like that. Which is why I came up with the idea of like, yeah, he's definitely utilitarian. Yeah, because he has like Kevlar samurai armor. Which the fact that I came, like, I'm so glad. I'm really glad I came on the stream. One, because the part I realized that like the white collar businessman again is like the modern day farmer, which is so cool. Two, I would never have come up with like a Kevlar armor, samurai armor on my own. And like that's kind of why I wanted to be on the stream, because I like want to make sure that this is something that people would want to read, or not read, but like watch.
You know I mean? Even I learn things from these streams, and I'm not even the one getting my stuff looked at.
But yeah, I want to make sure like I create something that people are interested in, not something that just I'm interested in. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So in terms of like the kind of beats of the story, what are you thinking? Like, so it seems though you're going with like a few things. You're going with so I guess like what like is would you say is like the inciting incident for the climax, like the final battle and the way that the Yakuza get defeated? Is it going to be like just a kill all the Yakuza? Is it the Yakuza have like are trying to race to get a file of some kind that will burn down their entire organization? Is it
I guess the climax would be figuring out like, so the thing they figure. So I guess the climax would be they figure out, I guess, who is working with the Yakuza, and it turns out to be like it turns out to be not only like some guy, like not just some guy at the company, but it's like somebody who the ninja character knows, possibly his like boss, or like it's one of his superiors. And the whole climax would be trying to stop him. However, unknown to the ninja, this like boss character, I was thinking his like combat persona would be based on the Tengu, or I'm still kind of trying to figure out exactly what his combat persona would be, but he basically is more skilled than any of them are anticipating. Like they think, he'll be easy to catch, but I guess the whole climax with like a fight, and then like them trying to capture him.
Okay. So is this meant to be part of like I guess like are you planning on like having sequels, or is this kind of like a self-contained like one season type story?
This is a I feel like this would be a one-off story where once it's done, it's done.
Okay. So
because I feel like the more sequels and like reboot, like sequels, like the more sequels you have, the more likely you are to fuck something up and ruin it forever.
So you're likely going to have to find a way to kind of completely win.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that's kind of that I find annoying is the kind of the defeat the bad guy and everything's fine. I really hate that trope. It's really annoying.
Well, I guess no, they don't like defeat the entire Yakuza. They just like stop they stop like the company working with the Yakuza. Like they stop the company working with the Yakuza, and they lose I guess they like that hurts the Yakuza in terms of like revenue, in terms of profit. So, well, they're not like completely defeated, but they're like more like at least they're not working with the company anymore, and like
he knows
so that end of Return of New Hope, where it's like you made it so that the bad guys can be defeated later, but that's another story.
I get actually, yeah, like, or at least like that now the police, or like now that they're like a lot less powerful and like the police can deal with them now, where they're where they have less influence.
You could always also add something in to further cripple the Yakuza, where this company manager guy has a lot of like dirt on the Yakuza. That's why they're willing to work with him. And then like you're able to cripple the Yakuza by taking out a lot of their higher ups using the dirt that they have on them.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. In fact, I think that was like a plot of like one of the like the first like first 2 episodes of Black Lagoon, where like the Lagoon Company basically had this file from the company that the main character Rock works for, and the file that they had, or the disc, had like a lot of dirt on the company, and they're trying to get it back. So they send like this group of mercenaries to like kill the Lagoon Company, and yeah, so something like that. Yeah, where they have like secrets like regarding to the Yakuza, and like, no, we don't want those leaked because that'll screw up our like business dealings and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, essentially making it easier for the police to catch them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what's the Yakuza? Go ahead, Dunn.
Oh no, go for it.
What's the Yakuza's win condition?
That's a good question. I guess to kill the 3 people who are like trying to to kill the ninja, samurai, and kitsune, and so now they won't be a thorn in our plans anymore.
So to stay hidden.
Yeah.
I actually had a thought. Dr. Crow actually gave me this idea. Like, you make the boss kind of a minor antagonist, and they do manage to kind of beat him somewhat, but the Yakuza come in and get him, and they're planning on killing him, allowing him to kind of cover up their secrets, and then the main character, that's kind of the impetus for the main character and his 2 like frenemies to come together and go get the person from like a Yakuza fortress or a safe house.
Or like some kind of like maybe one of their like nice fancy traditional houses that they bought like with the money from that they collected from. Yeah, and they can have like this like epic like sword fight where like all the guards are like having swords rather than like usually normally they would have like the nice like suits and machine guns, which would be depicted as Uzis in the show. But yeah, and then like when they're fighting in like the safe house or whatever, they have like their like little wakazashis or whatever, and they have like a sword fight, so it's not just like fighting guns. Like you have more variety in terms of combat. Because that's one of the things I like about it being set in modern day Japan, is that they could have both like sword fights and gun fights. and it's not just like in a feudal Japan where it's just sword fight, and it's not just like a Western show where it's like gunfight. It's a little bit of both. Like.
Okay.
And even then, the ninja character doesn't use guns. He would probably throw a shuriken, either to pin his enemies to the wall, or to disarm them,
or a chain.
Yeah.
All right, kunai into the door switch to stop somebody from getting away.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's pretty clever.
Yeah. So, what would you say? So we've got like 13 minutes left before we have to conclude. What are like your most pressing questions, would you say, so we can kind of just kind of to make sure that like I don't leave like something like super important off the table?
No, I feel like so I guess my biggest questions are any like anything else that like you think that like any other. Like, what other, like, so I had the idea of, like, the Oni sumo wrestler. What other villains do you think would be a good idea that would be based on, like...
Japanese things?
Yeah, Japanese, like, either, like, some kind of, like, fighter, warrior, or, like, some kind of, like, Japanese, like, fighting archetype, or like, some kind of, like, monster archetype.
Okay, so I'll just rapid fire a few of these. Are you ready with notes?
Oh, sure. Let me get out a text document.
Mm-hmm. So, you could have like a sewer dweller type that's a like aquatic adversary that he has to go up against. That's just kind of killing people, and using the sewers as a way of getting through into various places. You could have a kind of a bulldozer type who's kind of even more like aggressive and brutish than the samurai. You could have another ninja type who's an assassin that he has to go up against. You could have like a kind of a suave James Bond type villain. You could have kind of I think in some regards some kind of mastermind bad guy, kind of like the Master in the green big head guy in Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
You could have
the leader.
Oh, it's the leader. Okay. You could have a kind of a chaotic, kind of not necessarily on any side, just wants to cause trouble and chaos for both sides. You could have like kind of a sadist assassin, like a Killmonger type, or a Zaz from Batman type villain.
All right.
Or you could have like other Sengoku archetypes, like Uesugi Kenshin, who is like a master chess master. Or you could have somebody like Takeda Shingen, the big cavalryman in that era. And you could like represent him like a Fast and Furious type.
Okay, I like the cavalry, like, yeah.
Like he has a motorcycle rather than a horse.
Yeah, so I wrote down those, like, a lot of those ideas. So I like all of those ideas. So yeah, now I'm just trying to think of, like, the aesthetic of each archetype. So I was thinking for, like, the bulldozer, aggressive, brutish one. I think I said, like, I wanted to do, like, an Oni, like guy who wears, like, an Oni mask and, like, fights like a sumo wrestler. That guy could be, like, the aggressive, like, bulldozer, brute guy. Because he's just giant dude who uses like his like giant weight to just like to crush everything underneath him.
Dr. Crow actually had a good idea. Maybe you could have like a sniper / archer type, as like a ranged person who's able to hit anything. Yeah. So
all right.
So
yeah, again, now I'm just trying to think of an aesthetic for each of them.
You can do that on your own time. That's perfect.
Okay, I guess I could do that on my own time.
Yeah, and like just figure out like, since ultimately like it's up to you to kind of figure out what each of the aesthetics are. We're just here to give you like
okay, yeah, no, thanks. Like, because one of the ideas like had was like based off this one Japanese urban legend of like this girl who wears like the surgical like face mask, and underneath her face mask is like her mouth is all cut up. And I was thinking that could be like assassin villain, like who just doesn't speak but like throws knives or something. Originally my plan was like for her to like have like scissor blades, but that just seemed too silly. So I like decided her to be like a knife thrower, basically.
That's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah, and she maybe could be like one of the enemy assassin like archetypes. Maybe like the sadistic assassin.
Mm-hmm. Or like really vain and she covers it up because she botched a surgery or something.
Yeah.
It's like a half mask that's specifically covering the injury or something.
Yeah, but she's like wearing she's like wearing like the surgical mask. And like underneath is like her mouth like kind of like let me see surgical Japanese. I forget what this like urban legend is called.
Well, you can figure it out. I believe you'll figure it out.
Look this up. Urban
Kuchisake Onna, according to Bloomy Blonde Hearts.
Yep. Slit mouth woman. Yeah. Or basically like the sides of her mouth are like cut and like.
Do you want to know how I got these scars type?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Except, yeah, she can't talk, so she can't really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the like other questions, what are some other like things that you're kind of wondering about, or at least like that you're kind of wanting to brainstorm about in the last? I think we'll give it like 10 more minutes, and then we'll have to cut it short.
I guess if you have like, do you think that there should be any more like allies or anything like that? Because I'm really happy with the 3, but if you think there are any other good ideas, then let me know.
Maybe if he has like some friends from whatever like academy school that kind of come in to help him out or something, that might be an idea.
Okay, maybe like a computer nerd or something.
Yeah, like a tech guy who kind of helps them through like security and whatever.
Like an Otacon type.
Yeah, maybe he could be like kind of nerdy and dorky, like the typical like Japanese otaku stereotype that they have.
Yeah, there's also possibilities for like the kitsune to kind of be like the feminine wiles person who kind of just seduces the guards and allows them to knock them out.
Yeah.
You also could possibly have kind of the vehicle guy who's like good at driving and whatever. And like the way that they get out is like he's in a sports car or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like the getaway driver. I guess like kind of just I think like a lot of it is going to be kind of fleshing out like the details of how each point in the plot, how each person is relevant to the plot.
Yeah.
Where since if you have a bunch of allies and some of them aren't used, there's going to be an element in the audience that feels, oh, I guess like that character didn't have a point in the end.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have too many, but you want to figure out like what is your climax, and unless kind of depending on how you write, like would you say you're a discovery writer or like you're an outliner?
I would say I'm like an outliner.
Okay.
because when I be like write like am I like a discuss, I usually have, because usually like I do like come up with ideas. Like the discovery part is like kind of thinking of high concepts essentially, where I think of like, hey, what if I had a story about a ninja set in modern day Japan that fought like a kind of like a superhero, and I had like took the best like aspects of like shonen anime and shonen manga and like superhero comics and superhero cartoons and kind of combine them together to make a story about a ninja who fights the Yakuza, fights a bunch of Yakuza villains to save the day.
Okay. So with this one, you probably want to figure out like, okay, what is my climax? What are the elements that need to be here in order for both sides to win? What do the heroes need to do to win? And what do the bad guys need to win? And what is it?
Mhm.
What people and skill sets are going to be needed for the ending?
Yeah.
So it kind of seems as though like you got your 3 fighters and the way in, you got a tech guy, you got a vehicle guy, and you just already and you need to kind of figure out.
So
like,
actually, so the vehicle guy, I don't know, like I don't.
Well, it kind of depends. Well,
I was thinking maybe the tech guy and the vehicle guy could be like the same guy, maybe. Because it seems like
better. That actually would probably work better. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like having a separate guy for being the vehicle guy seems a little silly. Because he seems like the kind of character you were exactly talking about, who the audience might realize, hey, he was actually that important.
Yeah, and like that could even be like a part of his character that even though he's like a tech nerd, he's a Fast and the Furious style driver.
Yes, and like yeah, because he's like this like awkward like nerd, like yeah, he like is like completely crazy behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's like a kind of like joke.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
So, like you have those allies. Do you have any other? At the moment, I can't think of any other like allies that like are totally needed.
Yeah.
Since it seems like the climax is basically like a smash and grab, in terms of like the climax where they're trying to get this guy out so that he can either testify or give dirt or tell them where the dirt is.
Yeah.
If that's the direction that you want to go in.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, what else would you say? Like, I think we have time for one more.
We have like less than a minute left.
Well, let's give it like a buffer of like 5 minutes, and you can give me like one more question.
I think that's it. I think was the thing I was like kind of like struggling on was like bad guys, and I was like thinking, and just off the top of my head, I was like, is there any other like characters that should be involved in the story? So any other allies that would be important that might make it more interesting?
Yeah, and you can add some. You can add.
I guess another question I had was like, in what ways could I have a character fail, but it not like where the potential of this character, where if this in the event that this character does fail, it doesn't end the story. You know what I mean? Like where can I have like my character make mistakes?
Like in the combat situations?
In general.
One example might be like the person are trying to like maybe the blackmail thing is like kind of a through line plot where there's a bunch of people that are trying to take down the Yakuza, and they gather dirt, and this guy tries to get to a person who has dirt, a section of the dirt on them, on the Yakuza, and then the sadist knife thrower is there, and she manages to injure him pretty severely. And he does manage to hairline escape, but she gets the dirt or it destroys it. That might be an idea.
Okay. Yeah. Because I don't want my character to be a Mary Stu, or in this case, a Mary Sue, or in this case, a Gary Stu, because I want to make something good. I don't want to make something that people like, this is stupid.
This character's OP.
Yeah.
What if on your character's missions they have time limits to do things? It's like they have to knock out a security system, but the security system will cycle in about 5 minutes, and so they get pinned behind some boxes or columns by everybody just machine gun oozing open fire, and they run out of time. They got to fall out.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Where it's something like where they're trying to get something and they run out of time. And they have to escape, so they don't get the objective, but they are still alive. Okay, I like that. That's good. Yeah. No, I think that was a good question to ask. Of what question, or no, sorry, not what like what thing, like, but yeah, like what like potential failures could like those characters like do? It was a good question. Like. Yeah. I'm glad I thought of that before.
Yeah, you can have one idea that I just kind of came up with is maybe like this guy is kind of collecting geocache. Like there's kind of a bunch of geocaches of blackmail things on the Yakuza that various people have. And the Yakuza are trying to find and destroy all these geocaches. The boss is trying to collect them so that he can blackmail the Yakuza into giving him what he wants. And then the ninja organization are trying to collect them in order to build a case against the Yakuza. And maybe they have like a lawyer type that's on their side that is like kind of an outside force. They saying, if you can give me the information, I'll build a case against them and start prosecuting. But until I have that information, I can't do anything.
Or maybe like a Commissioner Gordon kind of character.
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon, Harvey Dent, Two-Face.
Yeah. Where he's where like he's not the super major character in the role, like where like he kind of is just like where he's like the Commissioner Gordon type is like a character who doesn't need to be like super important, but definitely would help if he was there. All right.
Okay. Alrighty. So we've covered a lot of ground in the past 2 hours. I hope this has been helpful.
It has been very helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad. So, alrighty. So that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you, Drake the Duelist, for coming on and helping out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was good having you, Drake the Duelist.
Thanks.
Yeah. And it was nice having you on the show, Noble Commando.
Thank you. It's always good to be on the show. I look forward to when we start covering the Last Jedi podcast again.
Yeah, that's probably going to be next Tuesday, and it's going to take a while since we're actually getting into the bad stuff.
Yeah. The bad stuff. That's the stuff that we should be. It's funny because the good stuff they said
are still bad.
Or, yeah, like, wait. I thought no. So first they were giving their criticisms of it.
Yep. Yep.
Which they didn't really give any real criticisms, and I think that was one of the things that one of us predicted was they're just going to say, oh, yeah.
There's, like, backhanded criticisms.
Yeah, and another, Canto Bites was okay, I guess. And I think I said I predicted it wasn't going to be woke enough for them. And one of the things, like, they said, like, they wanted the anti-capitalist revolution in there, and I guess I was right. Yeah, no, it wasn't woke enough, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Well, since we're ending the show, I think it deserves this.
Shafka reagis anhan reagis andate.
That's the exit thing.
Nice. I've not seen Game of Thrones, so I don't get that reference.
It's from the worst episode, but it's at least got some little bit of good stuff. The story is asinine, but what can you do? It's with two novelists who don't understand production and who write like a pair of 12-year-old frat boys.
12-year-old frat boys.
Well, it's like utterly like devoid of intelligence frat boys without source material to copy off of.
And they also had the intelligence of a 12-year-old.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I will conclude it there. Thanks to everybody who came. I very much appreciated everybody's comments. This has been excellent. I will end the broadcast right now, and I will say bye to everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Peace out.